Searching for some random high, chancing for the Jane with the Mary and the Camden. And a few more tramp friends, breaking rules that you can't bend. Frontin', writing truth with your man's pen. Spitting jewels, leave a nigga with a damp gem. Black out and wake up with my shoes on your man's chin. Codified, third open eye, polarized. A fighter in the arena where foes go to die. Broken high, steadily token lie. Thinking about the many ways to make the dough multiply. Send a word, call the press, notify. Choke from the dope supply, open wide.
Yeah, yo, Zeppo, from the Chill Squad, newly affiliated, but down with the camp, making big moves. I don't know, ever since, I was a kid, I remember the first CD I got was Foxy Brown, Il Nana. My mom's, she wasn't feeling it, so I had to, there was the parental advisory sticker at the bottom, so I had to rub it out with the black, the permanent black marker. She found that shit and she threw it out, but it was this first Camp Low track that I saw in the source, the hip hop quotable. I don't know, it was grade 7 or some shit like that. And everybody was spitting in school, so I wrote this verse down, some straight plagiarism shit, and I spat it, and everybody was like, yo, that's dope, that's dope. And I felt bad about it at the end of the day, and I just, I had to reveal to everybody, it was a verse I got somewhere else, but it made me think that, I needed to write bars. So ever since grade 7, I've been doing my little writing, little bars and shit like that. Met Prophet through a buddy of ours, Pimpin', another producer, and I heard the beats, and as you can see the smile on my face, the beats were just crazy, you know what I'm saying? And I just said, whatever, I'll pay you, just let me just drop some verses, something, let me just express myself on these beats. And I went over to the studio, we parlayed, whatever, we polyed, and we just kind of had the same mind on things, same look on the game, on music, and I started to meet the rest of the crew, Killa Khan, Miguel, Mookie, everybody, and the crew is all the same headed, level-headed, that they're about a goal, and the same kind of goal I'm about, put out good music, you know what I mean, and quality music, and get the heads turning, you know what I'm saying? So that's how we kind of linked up. I was kind of like, Wayne's World, we're not worthy kind of situation, because these guys were already making a movement, and I just, kind of came along. But, I'm privileged to be a part of the Chill Squad, you know what I'm saying? And there's big things that's going to happen with it, so I'm glad to be a part of that camp. I don't even know. A lot of people have described it as smooth. I don't know. I really don't know how to describe my style. I do look at lyrics. I'm a big lyric man. So I do have bars they're not going to be your typical, I'm more or less not a, I don't want to marginalize myself, but I'm a lyric guy, number one. So that's what I bring to the table. I can't really say I have any styles from anybody else, but, if you dig the lyrics, then hopefully you'll dig the rest, I don't know, I always thought that, I just wanted to be, I was a big Jay-Z fan back in the day too, and, every time I listened to a track, I would imagine myself being on the track with the next verse. So I felt like for a bars person, it's not for everybody, but for lyric-wise, if I'm gonna stand in the ranks of a Jay-Z or a Pun or something like that, imagining myself on these tracks with them, I figured the best thing I could do is sharpen my lyrics, because that's what I figured, But for me wanting to do the hip-hop thing, I just feel like right now is a big movement time. There's so many different voices out there right now who can actually make a pocket of people to listen to what we have to say, and it can grow. The great thing about music is that it can reach anybody anywhere, and anybody can be influenced in any way. And I feel like the game now is marginalized to not necessarily what can make money, but it's like a cookie cutter. It's a package deal, and you know that what you're gonna get with that artist. And I like the artists that surprise you, you know what I'm saying? That have this in their skill set as well as that in their skill set. And the great part about Chill Squad is everybody has a certain skill set. So when you get us, you get the full package, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I got in the game for, you know what I mean? To collaborate with people who do come from different walks of life, but who do have the same goal in mind. And that's what it's about, you know what I mean? So we're putting out good stuff, and we're putting out stuff that's conscious stuff, as well as stuff that people want to hear, but it's also stuff with passion. And we all have that passion for everything that we do, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I do it, you know? That's why we do it. So expression, inspiring other people, and just everybody has a voice, you know? And I feel like with hip-hop I can give my account, like my testimony, and I feel like, you know, it gives people that voice to be able to express themselves. Some people may, you know, question what they're expressing, but at the same time, we all as people have things that we need to say or that we feel need to be heard. And for me, hip-hop allows me to be able to do that, you know? So, movies, you know, I pretty much movies a lot. Certain artists, you know, like I'm a big MF Doom fan, Redman, you know, Rock Marciano right now, Action Bronson, but anybody that's new, preferably underground, comic books, like one of the biggest influences, I would say, is the Bible, you know? Not being preachy or nothing like that, but just it has some real shit in it, you know what I mean? That's pretty much it, man. Anything I could grab, preferably pop culture, you know what I mean? I'm big on anything that's pop culture references, notices, notoriety, things like that, you know? But yeah.
Are you for real?
What you mean the singing Meatloaf?
Meatloaf. I mean, like he was alright, but I mean, like between Salt and Pepper and Meatloaf, you know what I'm saying? Spinderella. You know?